Hello. The topic of today's lecture is creating a customer portrait and value proposition. Customer research. My name is Antonina Tomashevska and I am a lecturer of the Nexus projects. Questions that we will consider. 1. Definition of customer development. 2. Customer segmentation. 3. Creating a customer portrait. 4. Value proposition canvas. First questions. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, believes that the customer should always be at the center of attention, and customer complaints are the best business consult. Customer development. Customer development, this is the testing of hypotheses, ideas, or a specific prototype on a target audience. This term was coined by Steve Blank. Steve Blank is an American entrepreneur from Silicon Valley, founder of successful startup, the godfather of Silicon Valley, author of popular books on startups, bloggers, and lecturer of a number of leading American universities. It is important to understand when launching a product or service. Feasibility. Can the product be built with modern technologies? Desirability. Does the product solve a customer's problem? How does it help the users? Viability. Will the production of your product be economical in terms of time, cost, and resources? Product adoption curve. Product adoption curve, a graph that visualizes the dynamic of maturation of different types of users with innovative products. The main idea is that the vast majority of potential startups users will be ready to use the product only after it is already very advanced. Only a few percent of users are willing to test the product while it is still imperfect and provide feedback about its shortcomings. Innovators. Innovators are people who seek to try something new as early as possible. They are enthusiasts of new technologies. Innovators do not shy away from the risk associated with using an innovation. Early followers. Early followers often have the greatest influence on subsequent social groups. They like to act as leaders and are open to change. Early adopters have higher social status, good education, and financial resources. At the same time, they are more selection than innovators. To attract this group, information verified by innovators about the advantage of the product, operating instructions, a list of technical characteristics, etc., is necessary. At the same time, early adopters do not need to be convinced of the necessity of constant changes in their lives. They already enjoy trying everything new. Early majority. These people are seldom leaders, but they adopt innovations earlier than the average persons. They maintain contact with early adopters. At the same time, they need to see clear evidence that their innovation is useful before deciding to adopt it. Promotion strategies for this group include success stories and other proofs of their innovation effectiveness. Latter majority. Latter majority is skeptical of change and adopt innovation only after it has already been successfully tested by the majority of the population. This category is often represented by people with a lower social status and limited financial resources. Strategies to attract this group include information about how many people are already successfully using the innovation, which creates an element of psychological pressure. Outsiders. Outsiders make up a much smaller percent of the product adoption curve than the majority that is in the early stage of the adoption process. Jeffrey Moore suggested that there is a gap, the chasm, between the first two and the other categories, which many startups fail to overcome. In fact, this is the stage of turning a technology for enthusiasts into a technology for pragmatics. The enthusiasm of innovators and early adopters may sometimes be enough to promote innovation, but it's ultimate. Success depends on how convincing the evidence of the usefulness and effectiveness of the new product or technology is for pragmatics. Crowdfunding. Kickstarter, one of the largest platforms for funding creative and technologically project, games, budget, art. Indiegogo, a more flexible alternative to Kickstarter, supporting both startups and social initiatives. The second question. In modern business, the key factor of success is understanding who your customer is. However, the market is extremely diverse. Consumers differ in their needs, habits, values, income levels, even expectations from a brand. If a company treats everyone the same, it risks wasting resources in initiatives and losing its competitive advantage. That is why customer segmentation is an important marketing tool. The division of the market into homogeneous groups of consumers who share similar characteristics or behaviors. Through segmentation, a business gains the ability to more precisely define its target audience, create personalized offers, optimize communication and advertising budget, build a long-term relationship with customers. Today, we will look at the main approaches to segmentation, the criteria most often used by companies, as well as examples of how segmentation helps shape effective marketing strategies. So, first of all, let's more on the types of markets you are entering with your product. Types by type of interaction market. B2B, business to business. B2B is not just a type of interaction between businesses. It is a convenient way to obtain services, goods, and solutions on a large scale for different companies. At the same time, business to business contributes to the constant development of enterprises, the introduction of innovation, and the improvement of a manufactured product. B2C, business to consumer. B2C is set to the direct end consumer. B2G, business to government. B2C, this segment involves cooperation between a commercial organization and a government agency. Complex and profitable type of activity with clearly regulated requirements. There are three main areas that distinguish B2B from B2C. B2B, the companies, business, organization, and industry that needs goods and services for use in their operations. B2C, and consumer directly, they're buying as an individual using for personal use. Classification of market by type of interaction, B2B, for examples. So say, EPAM, Luxoft, IT outsourcing for global companies, Rosetka B2B, platform for corporate procurement, Novoposhta Business, logistics solution for companies, Grammarly, initially a B2B solution, now also B2C. B2C, business to consumer, Rosetka, the largest Ukrainian online retailer selling everything from electronic to groceries, Eva, A natural beauty and personal care retail chain, Foxtrot. A well-known electronics retail chain. Any food or beverage production, B2G, business to government, the tech. Electricity supply on cooperation with local governments on energy system modernization. Give future by market time B2B. Focus on long-term relationship and partnership. Decisions are made collection, several people in the company. Sales are more complex and take longer. Strong emphasis on retainer acumen, price, quality, service. B2C, business to consumer. Focus on emotional and customer experience. Mass market, large number of clients. Brand, advertising, marketing, and personalized crucial. B2G, business to government. Cooperation with government bodies through tenders and public procurement. This complies with legal norms and regulation. Establish a market. Definition. A market with a well-defined structure, clear competitors, mature technology, and predictable demand. Here, companies compete not to explain the product, but for market share, characteristic, stable demand, consumers know what they are buying, high competition, many players. Price competition is common. Difficult to exploit with a new product without strong differentiation. Examples: Coca-Cola and soft drinks, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, cars market, Volkswagen, Toyota, Mercedes. Smartphones, Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi. New market. Definition. A market that emerges thanks to an innovation product or technology that creates demand where it previously did not exist. Characteristic. Demand does not yet exist or is in its infancy. The company acts as an educator, explain to customers why they need the product. Low competition at the start, but high risk. Examples: iPhone 2007, creation of the touchscreen smartphone market. Tesla, development of electric cars as a mass product. Meta or Oculus VR, formation of the virtual reality market. ChatGPT, new market of generative artificial intelligence. Cloud market, definition. A market that copies a business model or product that has already worked elsewhere. In fact, it is a local adaptation of a successful model. Characteristics: love innovation, the model is already proven. Speed and localization are crucial. Competition depends on whether local leaders already exist. Examples: Rosetka, Ukraine, Amazon analogy. Uklon Ball, local version of Uber's. Modomank, analogy of Western Neobank, Revolut. Global in Ukraine, adoption of food delivery like DoorDash or Uber Eats. Re-segmented market. Definition. An existing market where a new segment is created for a specific target audience. Usually, this involves a breakthrough in pricing, format, or quality characteristic. The product differs from mass offering in price value. New strategy, meeting specific needs. Consumer already knows the product but want it another form. Examples: Netflix. Created the online streaming segments within the TV or video rental market. IKEA. Furniture with a focus on a low price plus design. Xiaomi. Smartphones like flagships but twice as cheap. Starbucks. Resegmentation of coffee, not just a dream, but atmosphere and startups. In modern business, the key to success lies not only in the quality of a product or service, but also in a deep understanding of who exactly they are created for. Companies that try to target everyone at once to lose efficiency since each group of consumer has its own unique needs, values, and motivation. Three questions. This is why marketing widely uses the concept of a customer profile. This is a generalized image of the ideal consumer, which includes demographic characteristics, behavioral traits, interests, lifestyle, and values. Creating a customer profile allows a business to clearly define its target audience, develop personalized offers, but more effective marketing strategies, establish an emotional connection with customer. The customer block in a business model is one of the most important components. At the early stage of a startup's development, it is critically important for founders to correctly identify the target audience in order to build the right strategy for hypothesis testing and product launch. There may be several target customer or user segments. This depends on the problem and the product. Let's show the difference between the concept of target audience and customer profile with examples. Target audience. These are the segments of people interested in your product. Example, women age 25 to 30 who decided to purchase an apartment for family well-being. Men age 30 to 35, unmarried, buying an apartment for themselves to live separately from their parents and create their own personal space. Customer profile. This is the image of a typical representative of a target audience segments. N. 25 years old, married, gave birth to a child 3 years ago, has an income of 25,000 Ukrainian hryvnias per month, works as a copywriter from home. The family lives with her husband's parents, often fails to meet work deadlines because of conflict with her mother-in-law. Motivation for buying an apartment with independence and personal space, so that the child has his own room and she has a work area. She strives to preserve relationship with her husband and his parents. Why you need a customer profile? Let's consider the most important reason: finding new clients. The customer profile can be compared with new users, and the database can be divided into potential clients and people who may either purchase your product later or forget about your company. This way, you immediately see who needs your product right now and who is only considering it for the future. Personalized offers. With a detailed customer profile, you can create more relevant commercial offers, advertisement, website contents, and email campaigns based on their interest and pain points. This market is easier to build a unique offer, identify triggers, and prepare a strong value proposition. Choosing promotion channels. The target audience profile helps to understand which channels users come from and what devices they use. The image reflects the customer's behavior psychology. This can be used to strengthen existing promotion channels or launch new ones. Setting priorities. A customer avatar helps the sales team understand who they are talking to, a potential buyer or just an interested user. It also helps determine how to conduct the dialogue and which product to offer. Focusing on a scene strategy. Once the customer profile is built, The company can concentrate on its strategy and choose the direction of business development. The profile makes it clear which product should be emphasized since it is chosen by the majority of the target audience. Examples: Airbnb. Airbnb takes into account that many of its clients are pet owners who cannot leave their pets at home. That's why, from time to time, they show on their social media page that many property owners are pet friendly. And that staying in a home anywhere in the world with your dog is not a problem. Starbucks. The target audience of Starbucks is very diverse. That's just like their advertising. This is evident from just one look at the brand's Instagram page. Many posts are dedicated to friendships and family gatherings. For the coffee shops, it is more profitable when people come in groups. Zloty Week. The main target audience of the company Zloty Week is couples preparing for marriage. That is why most of the outdoor advertising and website promotion are focused on people in love. For more detailed information about users, you can conduct an in-depth interview. It is necessary to prepare questions for the client and invite them for the interview. To encourage clients to agree, you can offer participation in a giveaway or a discount product. The question should cover the client's name, data of birth, place of residence, profession, your product, the problems they face, as well as their emotion and motivation. Example of additional client questions. What habits do they have? How do they see their typical day? Family. What do they dream about? What are their fears? How do they make a purchasing decision? In-depth interviews also help to build a psychological profile of the clients. This makes it easier to understand their emotional values, motivation, and problems. Prepare a question for the clients, ask them to take a psychological test, or conduct an interview with a psychologist. This method is complex since few people agree to such research. To attract people to such tests, you can gather a focus group of your clients. Offer them options for cooperation so that they agree to provide valuable data. For example, an annual subscription to a program, a free product, a discount for the B2B sector, free trials of your product, or financial compensation. Want to know how to write a psychological profile? For this, you need to select a vibrant representative for each segment of your target audience and conduct testing. The main personality traits you can identify in a client: temperament, character, ability to achieve success, intellectual capacity, emotional, willpower, sociability, self-esteem, resilience. What does a client's portrait consist of? Demographic characteristic, client age, gender, ethnicity, nationality, religious beliefs, marital status, psychography, emotions, motivation, interest, problems, value, habits, socioeconomic data, income level, education, profession, place of work, living condition, behavioral factor, reason for purchase, average consumer check, seasonality of sales, consumer products mix. The profit includes the following data: B2B, the position of the employer who makes the decision. Business needs, they can be internal and external. Let's use an example to explain how to distinguish needs. Internal, this is the organization of the workplace in the office. External, cooperation with a company for delivering goods to the company's clients. Company size. One office or a network of enterprise around the world. Coverage region, city, country, or the whole world. Company activities. Total number of employees. Sales volume. Any turnover of the company. Here you can see examples of client's portrait. Question 4. So, having created a customer portrait, we move on to creating a value proposition canvas. A unique value proposition is the unique value that entrepreneurs seek to deliver to customer and user. To define it, there is a good tool, a value proposition canvas. The value proposition canvas consists of 6 segments and 2 blocks. Customer profile. Customer jobs. Provide information about tasks that need to be completed, issues that need to be resolved, or needs that the customer is trying to satisfy. All jobs are divided into 3 categories: functional, related to action, social, related to social connections, and emotional, related to feelings and impressions. Pains. Pains are internal and external factors that create difficulties for the customer in completing the jobs. Problems include obstacles as well as negative outcomes that consumers hope to avoid, such as risk, obstacles, or dissatisfaction with the result. It is also important to consider the intensity of the pain and how often it occurs. Because the customer may not agree to pay for overcoming mild of non-system pain. Gains. Gains cover positive results, pleasant emotional reactions, and the fulfillment of desire. As with pains, gains need to be prioritized by the degree of importance to the target audience. Value map. Value map product and services a list of proposed solutions to fulfill the functional, social, and emotional tasks of the consumer. Pain relievers answer the question of how our product or services is able to overcome pain during or after its use. As a rule, different pain relievers apply to different types of pain. Then creators demonstrated which of the specific benefits the value proposition aimed at, and how exactly the result will be achieved. Value proposition canvas for a taxi service. Example. The most common mistake when filling out the value proposition canvas: confusing a different target audience segment in the value proposition canvas. Forgetting about consumer need and filling the canvas with unrealistic data. Consider potential buyer as emotional robots, trying to satisfy all consumer needs with one product. Consider the value map and customer profile block as identical. This is book's value proposition decision. Thank you for your attention.